So Joe Rogan, host of one of the most popular podcasts in the United States, recently weighed in on some of Joe Biden's media appearances over the past few weeks. Now, you may or may not already know this, but when it comes to giving interviews and when it comes to public speaking, Joe Biden has shown time and time again over the past few weeks that he cannot form coherent sentences. It's painfully obvious. It doesn't please me to say this. Here's Joe Rogan's take on some of Joe Biden's media appearances. Let's play the clip and then discuss.
But you have to be able to call out shit that's wrong on your side. And this is one of the problems that the Democratic Party's having right now with this Joe Biden guy. You guys got to be able to call it out. You can't let this slide because everybody else sees it. And Trump is going to eat him alive. He's going to eat that guy alive. The guy can barely remember what he's talking about while he's talking.
Do you know which one it was? Because there's a few videos.
There's a few of them.
Yeah.
Just play any of them. They're all crazy. Every video of him recently talking, he's stumbling through shit. He forgets what he's talking about.
Assess the recommended period.
Yeah, see, he doesn't know what he's talking about when he's talking. And this is not like this. I'm looking at this like a medical condition. Okay, I'm looking at this like, okay, when I'm calling a fight and I see a guy limping. And I'm like, I think he hurt his knee. Like Thiago Santos against John Jones. I think he hurt his knee there. I think there's something going on with his knee. Like, that's what I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this like this is a medical issue. That's not a normal way to communicate, unless he's high as fuck. Because if I was high, I'd be like, I don't know what I just said to this lady.
So Joe Rogan is 100% correct in his critique of the Democratic establishment there. The Democratic establishment is not going to call this out about Joe Biden, regardless of how painfully obvious it is. The reason they're not going to do it, the reason the Democratic establishment is not going to call this out, the reason that corporate media is not going to call this out, is because they're all bought and paid for. They're bought by the insurance companies. They're bought by, the hotel lobby. They're bought by every single person under the sun. That's why they're not going to call this out. There's a reason that Joe Rogan has one of the most popular podcasts in the United States. It's because he's unfiltered. He tells it like it is. That's why Donald Trump is so popular and won the last election. Is because people see him as a guy that's unfiltered. People see him as a straight shooter. Now let's be clear, I'm no fan of Donald Trump at all. I think he is the worst president in the history of America. I think he lies like it's nobody's business. But the fact of the matter is, people see him as a guy that's unfiltered. People see him as a guy that's going to tell you like it is, despite how much he lies. Now, Joe Biden's painfully obvious cognitive decline is not going to be covered in corporate media because they're bought and paid for. The Democratic establishment is not going to talk about this because they're bought and paid for. So Joe Rogan is right there in his critiques of the Democratic establishment. And he's right there that Donald Trump is going to eat Joe Biden alive in the debates. Leave a comment on your thoughts regarding Joe Rogan's comments about Joe Biden. And subscribe to join independent progressive media. Join the political revolution against the corporate mainstream media. They're not going to cover this. They're filtered. We're unfiltered here, and we're going to tell you like it is. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.